All right, it's called a special meeting of the Tourism Development Authority, and it's a presentation of the tourism's budget from County Manager this evening. Welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As I said a few moments ago in presentation of the county's recommended budget, the statutes require for the Tourism Development Authority that the budget officer present to you no later than June 1st a recommended budget. We are now following that statutory requirement, and after this submission to you, it becomes your budget as members of the Tourism Development Authority Governing Board to review, modify, and adopt as you see fit. The Tourism Development Authority was created by the legislation that authorized the county's collection of occupancy tax. That occupancy tax is constituted by 6% of funds received from the assessment of occupancy tax on the rental of lodging units within the county. The legislation that created or authorized the occupancy tax created this Tourism Development Authority provides that 2/3 of the occupancy tax, the net proceeds of the occupancy tax, must be used for tourism-related expenditures. And I want to read briefly read the definition of tourism-related expenditures directly from the statute, as there has over the years been some misunderstanding as to what that definition means. Expenditures that in the judgment of the Board of Commissioners are designed to increase the use of lodging facilities, meeting facilities, recreational facilities, and convention facilities, listen to these important words, in the county, by attracting tourist or business travelers to the county. Not to any geographical specific area in the county, but to the county. 1/3 of the occupancy tax is required to be used for the promotion of travel and tourism. And that definition set forth in the statute reads as follows: advertise or market an area or activity, publish and distribute pamphlets and other materials, conduct market research or engage in similar promotional activities that attract tourists or business travelers. And interestingly, it doesn't even say to the county, it says to the area. That includes also administrative expenses incurred in engaging in these activities. Occupancy tax has increased annually since 2019. There is some belief that was perhaps pandemic driven and allowing for people to come to our beaches and avoid the pandemic and its effects. But in any event, in fiscal year 2023, collections are 9.56% higher than the previous year. There's further indication that rental unit numbers are returning to at least perhaps 2019 levels. And so that's something we need to be aware of going forward.
Excuse me, Ike. As I understood it, hasn't OCC tax increased like every year?
Pretty much.
Forever? So the only thing I'm pointing out for those that are watching, it's not, our OCC tax, I think, has increased annually for far.
Well, I think that's right. I just went back, to the pre-pandemic date. But
the point being
that it continues to grow.
Every year for probably like the last decade.
Probably a little bit of a, as rental rates increased.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we can't capture in that number, but.
And that's some of what we're maybe thinking or hearing is there may be fewer persons coming, but occupancy tax, strangely enough, keeps rising, and that may be because, again, rental rates.
Yeah, I think we'll see an adjustment in 24, 25 for sure. I'm feeling it, seeing it now, right now, there's a lot less people in Corolla.
We did see a slight drop. I think it was 08, 09 during that recession.
Sure. It was going to be. Yeah.
But then it started coming back like in
and
10.
And it just kind of steady climbing a little bit each year.
So although we're going to see projected rental rates go down to 2019, the occupancy tax still could stay the same or increase because of the adjustments being made?
Well, yeah,
Is that what we're saying?
your rental rate for your home is
Yes.
higher, but I think you'll see those rates get adjusted next year.
Rates are going.
They're already going down.
Going up.
already
So
going
even if we-
down.
So even if we see less,
Tax is going to go down.
so it's good, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's the point of this. We need to be watching closely
Could have more
occupancy tax and what is happening with that market over there on the beach. Well, countywide. Tourism promotion expenditures as proposed in this recommended budget is $4,540,126. Of that, it includes transfers to the operating fund in the amount of $123,689 for airport promotion and administration of beach parking permits, as well as indirect costs, which are numbers derived from our consultants for the county management and other county departments that support the operation of tourism.
A quick question if I may, when we get, regarding the advertising piece to this, how does tourism do with the allocated funds for that? Are they able to, is there like a fund balance at times, or do we go through it do we use it all up all the time?
No, we do have a fund balance in both the tourism promotion portion of the tax, as well as the tourism-related expenditure portion.
Yeah, typically your advertising, she does, that has a healthier fund balance than the tourism-related expenditures side
It
of
is,
the house.
and then some individuals think that the fund balance and that can be dumped back into, they can't.
No, it
If
cannot.
it doesn't get
Right.
used, it just stays there.
That's
We can't
correct.
use it for anything else.
These
so.
are restricted funds that can only be used for these specific statutorily provided purposes.
Matter of fact, we dipped into that when COVID happened in 20, I think we allocated an extra $1 million out of our fund balance to push more advertising
For the beach.
for the beach. And Currituck isn't in whole.
That's the other reason you may remember in 2007 or so, we sought amendment to our legislation at the General Assembly in order to allow for us to use, in particular, the tourism promotion dollars in a different way, especially for capital outlay purposes, as we were having great difficulty and continue to have great difficulty to spend all the tourism-related portion of the occupancy tax. For tourism-related expenditures, the budget for the Tourism Advisory Authority recommends an allocation of $2,932,572 to be broken out for general tourism-related expenditures, historic Corolla Park, and capital outlay is set out on the slide. And then $7,776,339 to be transferred to other funds that are tourism related in nature. That includes a transfer of $4.8 million for enhanced law enforcement and EMS services that are impacted and required, particularly during the high tourist season. The Currituck County Rural Center operation and administration, the cost to collect and administer the occupancy tax, the Corova Beach Road Service District in order to maintain some of the costs to maintain the streets within that service district in order to assure that those persons who are renting homes in that community are able to safely get around within that community.
While you're on that, you didn't mention it when you were going through the special tax districts, but the Corova Road Service District.
Yes,
That is, the recommendation is to keep the tax rate the same there, is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I just presented to you in that presentation those taxes that were recommended for change.
Okay.
Monies for indirect costs as laid out by our consultant that should be paid back to the county for agencies and the county official support of that particular fund. Recreation field chemicals, and then various capital projects that are tourist-related in nature. Much like the county recommended budget, our schedule would be similar. June 5th, recommend that you take time before your regular meeting for a budget work session. June 19th, a public hearing to hear comments from the public and possible adoption or adoption thereafter, so long as the budget is adopted prior to July 1. Be glad to answer any questions.
Anything?
The transfers for the recreation fields, that's the multi-purpose fields, the two, and then the ball fields.
There is a transfer of monies in order to clear and grub the area that is for the future location of another
The other one.
ball field, and we feel like it's necessary to go ahead and do that because we do have a wetland delineation that we don't want to expire on us before we do that grubbing and clearing. Although it begs the question of the U.S. Supreme Court's recent decision whether that wetland delineation has any impact any longer. So we feel like it's better to go ahead and proceed forward to get that taken care of.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything further from the board? All right. Thank you, Ike. Can I have a motion to adjourn the?
So moved.
Thank you. We have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.